So hello everybody. Apologize, I'm a little late. Um, Something came up and I was caught in the moment. I was actually out and talking to the public, getting some signatures. And you know what? One thing I've learned about campaigning is that you meet a mixed bag of people. Everybody from every different background and political opinions, school of thoughts. And I find that very, very interesting. Forget about politics. I just like talking to people that are interesting. So today I got to talk to, two guys, one from California who is, of a minority background, and another guy from Virginia who is of a majority background. But these two guys are not the common, hardliners type of individuals. Even though they're both from different political parties, I was talking to them individually. We weren't, it's not like a group thing. I was talking to them individually. And they were telling me about certain ideas that they hold and opinions that are actually pretty neutral. Funny enough. So politics is not really all about just one, way street or my way or the highway type of thing. Politics is about compromise. And what makes things in politics toxic is when people do not want to compromise. They simply just want to get at each other's throat and headbang and make things even worse in terms of sharing opinions and ideologies. So yeah, it was a pretty interesting day today while I was recruiting signatures. I didn't get a whole lot, but it's okay. I learned something. And I think overall, reflecting on the 6 weeks that we've been campaigning, overall, I value these things, interacting with the public, as far as volunteers and signatures and funds, it's a long shot. I mean, I have to admit, it's hard, but I think we will make it. Even though it's a very steep climb, I think we will make it. Given that my narrative and my overall voice is not the type of political, mumbo jumbo that career politicians tend to spit out. I'm simply being just Al. I'm just telling people how I believe and how things ought to be. That is mainly common sense. People tend to agree with certain points that are, universal in terms of values and school of thoughts. I mean, I am a conservative guy, but I don't think I'm an ultra conservative to the point that people hate me or people don't want to hear what I have to say. Okay, from the other side, and vice versa. I listen to what Democrats has to say too. So it's not like I'm shutting them out. I feel that out of everybody in this race, within the Republican Party, at least, I offer something very different and unique and transparent. I mean, trust me, I've been told that I wasn't going to, succeed within the Republican Party, that I don't belong in the Republican Party, all this garbage. To me, a political party is a political party. Not everybody's going to be, in the same school of thought. All right. Did I get a message? It looks like something popped up. Let's see here. Anyway, I'll read it later. So I just wanted to be, frank and transparent with everybody. Because today I got to talk to two gentlemen that are from the complete opposite end of the spectrum. And to me, they're just like any other person. They're just interested in what's going on in our country and then what's evolving and how can we fix all these toxic, political narratives. And the toxic political narratives are actually coming from the people that have been in the environment, that toxic environment, for a long, long time. That's something that I've learned that is happening. The people that are within a political, mindset for a long, long period of time, they're no longer wanting to listen to the opposite side. They're not willing to compromise. And I think that it's a very, very dangerous environment to be in. I don't care if it's in politics, academia, or whatever. When the meeting of the minds are not really meeting, but clashing and banging and, creating mayhem, no one wants to listen to that. No one wants to participate. So why would you? I mean, if you have to deal with that in school, if you have to deal with, headbanging at your workplace, in your family, in your household, whatever, why would you want to be doing that more with, strangers? It doesn't make sense. So that's my take, right, folks? Granted, I mean, some of old school thoughts, like certain, conservative values, you definitely want to hold on dear to those, because if you don't have them, and if you, basically do away with them, it'll extremely stabilize the country and the market. Let me give you a point, an example. So, if you let all these illegal immigrants into the country and you don't know who they are, you don't know what their background is, you have no idea where they're living in the country, and, if they're committing crimes, then you definitely want to manage that. You definitely don't want them to stay in the country without us knowing who they are, because that's a very dangerous situation to be in. I mean, that's common sense, right? So, I was asked today by, the guy from the Democrat side if I support ICE. I said, of course I support ICE. I'm an immigrant. I come from an immigrant family. Yeah, I support ICE, because without ICE, then who's going to protect our borders, and who's going to enforce our sovereign immigration laws? No one. Okay, and when no one's protecting us from people that are entering the country illegally, then guess what, folks? You don't know what they're going to be doing. You have no idea what they're capable of doing. If they're one of those brainiacs and go-getter that will definitely contribute to the greater good of the country, sure, come on in. Go through the steps and motions to apply and be invited in, just like my parents did. 10 years that they had to wait, before they were approved to come to the U.S. Yeah, so certain common sense you definitely want to preserve. On the Republican side, very basic question. He asked me, how do I feel about cannabis? To me, that's a question of maturity. If somebody wants to huff and puff, in their private time and away from everybody else, then if they're adults and they're educated about the ramifications of their actions, let them do what they want to do. It's their decision. It's their choice. Okay? That's their freedom of choice and freedom of will. I believe in that. Now, he also asked me about the Second Amendment. I'm pro-gun rights. I don't own a gun. I don't own a weapon, but I do not want to take weapons out of the hands of our citizens. Because eventually, you never know. I might actually buy me a weapon eventually. I don't know yet. But, there are certain things that you want to major in, and there are things that you don't want to major in. Do not major in minor things, as my old professor would say. And I kind of agree with him. Why would you focus in on things that's not really going to be of relevant, influence in your life down the road? All right, folks. Oops, sorry. Let me switch. All right, there you go. Yeah, so if you have any questions, suggestions, concern, comments, whatever you want me to talk about on my next virtual hall, town hall, please ask them ahead of time, or just post it on our Facebook page. I'd love to talk to about them. It's just like a very nonchalant, just friends being friends type of engagement. It doesn't have to be formal. Because in all reality, folks, all this toxicity within our political system is turning a lot of people off, to be honest. And I don't blame them. Okay. Yeah. So what else do I want to talk to you about? Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Happy Valentine's Day. Actually, today's my mom's birthday. I didn't get to wish her a happy birthday yet, so if you're watching, I know my mom's always watching my YouTube channels and videos, so happy birthday, Mom. And yeah, thanks for all the great food that you make, and just being an awesome mom. With that said, yeah, folks, please tell me or ask me or comment and share with me whatever else you want me to talk about, and I'll try to expand on them on our next town hall. It's no fun to talk by myself. Obviously, I would like to interact. I do know many of you follow our YouTube channel and our Facebook live stream after the fact, after we do them, so that's fine. But if you can join us during the live feeds, that's even better, because that gives me material to talk about, and I'm interacting with people. But if you can't make it, type it in and leave it on the comments. Let me know to address them on my next town hall meeting, virtual town hall meeting, and I'll be more than happy to talk about them in length and expand on them. What else is going on with our campaign? So I've been invited to several engagement, but as I mentioned, to many of the invitations, I really am very honored and truly am delighted to be invited. But I've been self-funding my campaign from the very beginning, and it's not getting any cheaper. It's actually getting even worse, because I have to produce, printed material. I have to travel, get a rental car, stay at a hotel, get food. Obviously, I mean, I don't mind, putting in my own money, because I'm very passionate in what I do. But sometimes it does, take a toll on my finances. So if anybody out there would like to support us, please, do consider supporting us financially, or even in kind. If you have any materials, if you have like a printing press or any, any form of publicity material, marketing business that you can help us with, we would be very, very thankful of that. We're an underdog campaign, very grassroots, but we do have faith. I have 110% faith in our ability to succeed, even though there's a lot of people that are already, betted against us. They're like, oh, you're not going to make it, blah, 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 blah. You know what? I've been through a lot worse in terms of challenges, and I've seen mountains move. I mean, this isn't much. Running for office is not anywhere near as challenging compared to some of the things that I had to deal with. So I have faith, and I still have faith in many of you guys there, in most, Virginians and Americans, that truly believe that our political system has gotten way too out of control, toxic, and disjointed in many ways. So please support us. Tell your family and friends about our campaign. It's not going to hurt to share something new, something different, something unique and original, something that is going to be relevant in the year 2026 on out, not just 1776 on into year 2026. All right, folks. Yeah, again, I'm not a career politician. Don't sound like one. Don't want to be one. Don't want to act like one. I'm just being Al. And to me, I could be best of service to our fellow Virginians if they know my personality, if they know how I operate, if they know my expertise, if they know my passion, if they know me. So you will see YouTube videos of me that isn't edited, isn't scripted, isn't prefabricated, isn't fake. You get what I really want you to see, me. Now, my competition is all pre-edited, pre-scripted. They rehearsed it. So in a way, they're being fake. I'm not putting words on their in their mouth. I wouldn't say they're fake per se, but the authenticity of what they're trying to convey is watered down in many ways because of them not sharing with the public who they really are. Okay, folks. So that's today's town hall. I was going to talk about the baby boomers. I did a short clip earlier, yesterday actually, regarding baby boomers that would like to travel overseas. I would like to support that initiative that is going to be subsidized or provided for free to our baby boomers, the elderly and retired folks that would like to travel and see the world that couldn't because their finances won't allow them, their health won't allow them. I want to create something different so that our baby boomers, the older generations, would have an optimum quality of life. They work all their lives. Let's give them something to look forward to, something to enjoy, something to appreciate about our state, about our society, about who we are as people, as Americans, as Virginians. Let's make life interesting and easier for the older folks, the baby boomers. Let's all, consider we're going to be there one day. Okay, so let's make this a tradition, like a part of who we are as Americans, as Virginians, in which the older populations do not fear getting old or staying old or being old or whatever it takes. Because in all reality, most of our baby boomers, most of our elderly folks are getting depressed big time. There's, so much stuff that they're having to deal with on top of their stress and health issues. So let's make things easier for them and support them and give them something to look forward to every year, like traveling to a country that might be of interest for them to see. It's not that expensive, okay? If we charter a flight or charter a bus or charter a train ride or whatever, let's give them an opportunity to explore. Because when you're exploring, it keeps you young. All right, folks? So that's why, and active and, healthy. Because something about exploring and traveling sparks your senses, because it stimulates your senses, I should say, because it gives you something new to kind of navigate around in. So I'd like to introduce that as a part of my policy on my once I take office, and I'll definitely work with any government officials that would like to increase the longevity of the life and quality of life of our senior citizens. Okay, because trust me, most of them are aging and going through the motions of aging, depressed. They're like, oh, did I lose my worth? And they're questioning themselves. There's a lot of crap that they're having to deal with, sometimes on by themselves. And most of them, their health deteriorates because of that. So emotionally and psychological issues, would do you in. That's a really bad thing for the elderly to be, exposed to for a lengthy period of time. So yeah, folks, that's something that I wanted to talk to you about during this virtual town hall. Obviously, we're not the same typical old town hall. It's just me and you talking, having a discussion, being real. I'm not perfect. I don't think you are either. So why pretend? Okay, folks. with this said, thank you for watching. I will post this video on our YouTube channel, Aldous Mina, U.S. Senate on YouTube, and feel free to visit that channel and share. And again, if you feel so inclined to volunteer, please do volunteer or donate to our channel, or donate to our campaign, I should say, because we need a lot of help. If you want something different for Virginia, if you want, out of the box thinker, an innovator, somebody with a lot of economic development experience who wants to detoxify Virginia politics, I'm your guy. If you want the same old career politician, sounds, think, act, operate like a career politician, then unfortunately I'm not your guy. And feel free to vote for that guy. I'm not telling you not to. But basically what you're going to do, if it happens to be King Mark Warner, is you're crowning King Mark Warner for the 4th time once again. So let's hope that doesn't happen. With this said, folks, my name's Mina for U.S. Senate. Until we meet again, take care.